All right, raise your hand if you were nervous for your first day of Camp Kesem. I know I was nervous, but I was terrified for my third day of Camp Kesem. And I'll tell you why, but first I should tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Yoshi Abrams, graduated from Indiana University in 2009, and I currently work for Google. That's all you need to know about me. It's not material to the story. So I want to take you back to 2005, which was like the year YouTube was invented. So in 2005, in the Camp Kesem world, Indiana University was in our second year of camp. There were less than 10 camps nationally. That's right, every camper and counselor could have fit in this room. And it was so long ago that program director Kitty, wherever she may be, Kitty was a camper of mine. For me, I was a 19-year-old freshman going to my first year of camp, and I was so excited, but I was terrified for day 3 because as the sports coordinator, day 3 was going to be archery. Yay, let's hand bow and arrows to children. Now, I know what you're thinking, this guy who grew up in Indiana, expert marksman. But that's not the case. I had never fired a bow and arrow. I had never held a bow and arrow. I don't even think I had seen a bow and arrow at that point in my life. So I was thrilled when I was told the local staff would handle everything and I'd just help. So day 3 rolls around, I finish breakfast, and a local staff member comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you're Yoshi, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And then he goes, "Hey, you're leading archery today, right?" And I said, "Leading's a little bit of an overstatement, but yeah, I'm here to help." And then with a very serious face, he looks at me and he goes, no, Matumbo finger wave and all. "You're leading archery today. I have 10 minutes to teach you this, and then I have a staff meeting." What? Yes, that's right. I was given a 10-minute crash course on how to safely get through a day of archery, and then he left. And I turned around and I had 10 6-year-olds running at me ready to go hunting. So what happened? I taught 10 6-year-olds and every other camper, including Kitty, how to shoot a bow and arrow that day. And guess what happened? Nothing. We had no issues, no injuries, tons of fun. Thank you. But for me, I was dealing with something called impostor syndrome. Impostor syndrome is where you doubt your accomplishments and fear of being exposed as a fraud. Was I a fraud? Was I an imposter? I know I was not Katniss Everdeen. But as I reflected back on that week of camp, I kept thinking back to that moment I taught that first camper how to shoot a bow and arrow, because I realized I was not an imposter. I was not a fraud. I was selected to be a Camp Kesem counselor and the sports coordinator, not because I had years of archery experience or even minutes of archery experience. It was because I had the skills and the abilities to do a job even though I hadn't done it before, that I had been prepared to handle this situation even though it's something that was a new experience for me. And that was my game-changing moment. Because at that moment I realized that yes, we all want to enter the professional workforce with years of experience on a resume and years of experience to bring to your new team. But it doesn't work that way. Instead, you're going to start your professional career because someone believes in your skills and your abilities. And here's the secret. It's going to ring true through the rest of your life. Let me give you a few examples from mine. Early in my career, I entered the corporate world. I got asked to negotiate a legal contract. I had never negotiated a legal contract before. But I had negotiated the value of a shower to a bunch of 13-year-old boys on the 4th day of camp after they hadn't showered for the first 3 days of camp. So I knew I had the skills and the abilities to do that job. Even recently, I got asked if I would host and create a parody podcast about Cats the musical called The Wrong Cat Died. And that's actually something I'm doing right now that you can subscribe to. I've never written a podcast before, but I had written a bunch of opening day skits and talent show skits with way less time to prepare. So I knew I had the skills and the abilities to do this job. Time and time again, I've been able to lean on the fact that I had been adequately trained and prepared to tackle these challenges, even though things I have not done before. Now I want you to fast forward when you graduate. What do you think is going to get asked of you when you enter the professional world? You're probably going to get asked to communicate to a bunch of different people, work on a team, solve complex problems. And now think back to your first year at camp. What'd you do? You communicate with a bunch of different people. You worked on a team. You solved complex problems. That's right. Every day, Camp Kesem, your internships, your schoolwork, and everything in between are teaching you the skills you're going to need to be successful in the real world. Because I don't care if you're going to become an oncology doctor, a teacher, a nurse, or a Googler, all of you in this room are learning every day about what's going to make you great. And if you're ever doubting yourself, just remember, if a 19-year-old with 10 minutes of archery training can teach over 50 kids, including Kitty, how to shoot a bow and arrow and have no issues, no injuries, and tons of fun, then you can tackle whatever challenge you're facing and hit a bullseye. Thank you.